Okay, picture this. A horror icon who never says a word, seems to have no motive, and doesn't rely on any supernatural powers. His only mission? To turn murder into a kind of twisted masterpiece, and you're his canvas. This is the story of Art the Clown, the modern monster who is completely rewriting the rules of terror.
It sounds like something from an old urban legend, right? Like a marketing stunt from way back in the day. But what if I told you it actually happened? Just a couple of years ago. That a movie was so intense, so brutal, that it was causing people to have real physical breakdowns in movie theaters all over the country. And this wasn't just, a few people here and there. In October of 2022, social media just blew up with these reports. We're talking people fainting, getting physically sick, straight up running out of the theater. Ambulances were literally being called to movie screenings. This wasn't just a scary movie anymore. It was a full-on physical experience, all because of the villain at the heart of it all.
So who is this character that's causing all this chaos? Let's dive in and really get to know the smiling psychopath who has clawed his way into the top ranks of horror villains.
Here's the thing that makes him so deeply unsettling. In a world full of killers who love to talk and give scary speeches, Art is totally silent. He only communicates through these exaggerated, creepy mime-like movements and that permanent, blood-chilling grin. That's a promise that the absolute worst is about to happen.
Now, to really get a handle on Art, it actually helps to put him side by side with the most famous scary clown of all, Pennywise. See, Pennywise is this chatty, supernatural being from another dimension, but Art, he's grounded in a reality that is just terrifying. He's not some ancient evil, he's a guy in makeup who'll grab a hammer, a saw, whatever's handy to get the job done. His silence and his sheer brutality make him feel disturbingly, well, possible.
And that name, Art? Yeah, it's not short for Arthur. It's his signature. For him, murder isn't just a crime. It's a performance. He sees his victims as a canvas, and the horrific scene he leaves behind, that's his masterpiece. It takes him from being just a killer to this deranged artist, which, if you think about it, is way, way more chilling.
So where in the world did a monster like this even come from? Well, the story behind his creation is just as surprising as the character himself.
Art the Clown wasn't even meant to be the star of the show. He first showed up in a short film back in 2008 as just one monster among many, but audiences couldn't shake the image of that creepy, silent clown. The director, Damien Leone, noticed and brought him back again in 2013 before finally giving him his very own movie, Terrifier, in 2016. And that's when everything exploded.
And get this, that first Terrifier movie, the one that launched this whole phenomenon, was made for just $35,000. In Hollywood, that's practically nothing. It's the kind of money you find in the couch cushions of a big studio. It just goes to show you don't need a gigantic budget to create a character that can genuinely terrify a whole generation of people.
Now, a huge, huge part of why Art is so effective comes down to the man behind the makeup, David Howard Thornton. Thornton is a professionally trained mime. He took a character that has 0 lines of dialogue and turned him into one of the most expressive and scary villains in modern horror, using only his body and his facial expressions. His performance is really what brings Art from just an idea into a full-blown nightmare.
But this fear we see on screen, it taps into something much deeper. The whole scary clown thing isn't just a movie trope, It's actually rooted in some very real and very dark history. Way before Art or Pennywise ever hit the screen, there was a real monster who dressed up as a clown. Back in the 1970s, there was a man named John Wayne Gacy. To his community in Chicago, he was a respected businessman. He was also one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. And this is what makes the whole evil clown idea so fundamentally horrifying. Gacy used his friendly character, Pogo the Clown, to gain trust. He was the guy at kids' parties and charity events. And all the while, he was hiding this monstrous secret. He ended up murdering at least 33 young men, burying many of them right under his own house. He weaponized the symbol of childhood innocence and twisted it into a mask for pure evil.
And this fear isn't just some dusty old story from the 70s. I mean, do you remember 2016? It all kicked off with just a few weird reports and a creepy photo online, but it quickly spiraled into this global thing that people called the Great Clown Panic.
This panic had real consequences. I mean, professional clowns couldn't get work. McDonald's actually had to bench Ronald McDonald for a while. It got so bad that the World Clown Association had to release a public statement to reassure everyone that they were the good clowns. It was wild, and it just showed how deep our collective fear of clowns really is and how easily it can be triggered.
Okay, so this all brings us to the big question. Why? Why is a figure that was designed to make us laugh so good at making us scream instead? Well, the answer is actually found in psychology.
There's this concept called the uncanny valley. The basic idea is that when something looks almost human, but there's just something a little bit off about it, our brains don't see it as cute or friendly. Our brains flag it as a threat. It gives us this deep-seated feeling of unease, even disgust.
And clowns, oh man, They are the poster child for the uncanny valley. The thick paint hides their actual face. That smile is completely frozen and unnatural. They have a human shape, but all their features are distorted and exaggerated. It's like a perfect recipe of psychological triggers that just sets off all the alarm bells in our heads. At the end of the day, your brain is a survival machine. So when it sees a smiling face but it can't read the real emotions behind it, it just defaults to being cautious. It has no idea if that clown is happy or angry or dangerous. And that uncertainty gets interpreted as a threat, a little warning signal that something here is very, very wrong. And that, right there, is the terror that Art the Clown, John Wayne Gacy, and the whole idea of the evil clown represents. It's the ultimate fear of deception. And it leaves us with this one chilling question that's impossible to answer until it's too late. What dark intentions could be hiding behind that painted, smiling face?